Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So today, the South African president came to the White House. And as we've seen since this administration has taken hold of the Oval Office again, they have tons of world leaders to come into the Oval Office itself, and they're having these news press conferences. With J.D. Vance sitting on the sofa, as well as Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of State, sitting there. Well, today, the president stepped on the wrong toes in the Oval Office because, the truth always sets you free. Now, the president had a video shown of 1,000 white crosses with cars in between them in South Africa, saying these were 1,000 white farmers and their families that had been murdered in a genocide in South Africa. Well, the South African president, remembers, in the room. So the truth was in the room. His representatives were there with him. And he told the President of the United States that he needed to listen. Is the only way he was going to be convinced, because the white genocide that Donald Trump used to get those people in from South Africa, the Afrikaners, into America, which are down in Alabama, I hear. It was all based on the prefaces of white genocide. Well, he was told with no terms today from the South African government that it wasn't true, and he would have to listen to real facts. But we do know how that works out for the current president.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you. Now, the South African president visited the White House. They presented the South African president with a bunch of pictures and photographs and headlines and videos. Looked like they were drafted up by a kindergarten, somebody out of a kindergarten school, right? They're claiming that Afrikaners are being slaughtered in South Africa, and the South African president went to the White House and defended this claim, letting the world know that there's nobody getting slaughtered in South Africa, and the people who die in South Africa are not one specific color of people, but the people who are getting killed in South Africa involves all races of people, right? So, after being presented with a few photographs and a few pieces of paper, looked like they were scrapped or cut out by a scissor somewhere, right? Then they showed him some graves, the same graves you see circling around on TikTok, alleging that they're graves of white Afrikaner South African farmers who were killed in South Africa. A baseless argument. Now, the South African president has no idea, neither does the authorities in South Africa. They have no idea where these graves are located at. Nobody knows where they're located at. They're photocrap shit, cooked up, chumped up bullshit. And on top of that, they try to overtalk him so he wouldn't speak the truth. You understand? They try to overtalk the South African president, trying to overshadow the truth. You understand? And all trying to solicit airplanes as if they're dealing with Qatar. You think what I'm saying? This bullshit gotta stop. All these Afrikaners that came to the United States claiming they're refugees, it's a total lie. Everybody knows this. And this is how MAGA behaves when they don't want the truth to come out. But you see, here's the shocker. They didn't know that the South African president would come to America and confront MAGA's main men about these baseless claims. The South African president also brought a delegation of people with him. You understand? Who has knowledge about these things. Statistical data, all types of reports and this and that. That's the top men from South Africa. So if the top man from South Africa, the president, right, who's very transparent and clear, is telling you that these allegations of white farmers that are being genocided in South Africa and their land's been taken, it's a baseless argument and a complete lie. You understand what I'm saying? But of course, knowing MAGA, they try to down talk him, over talk him. They don't want to hear that because it's the truth. Come on. Do you think the South African president would be in such a situation where he knows this is true and still come to the United States to defend it? Hell no. You understand? But hey, I guess he don't have a $400 million plane to offer them. So
I just got finished watching the South African president and the president of the United States sit in the Oval Office and talk things through, okay? Now, the meeting, the real meeting, okay, so they had two different reasons for the meeting, okay? Trump wanted to talk about the stuff that's happening, that he believes is happening to the Afrikaners in South Africa, okay? And the South African president, he wanted to talk about building relations as far as business and technology, and to help provide more jobs to South Africa and things of that nature, because he believes that's the root of the problem. That's what South Africa was coming to talk about, and they were coming to talk about relations. But as the meeting went on, Trump pulled out these big, thick printouts from all over the web. You could tell it was the web, okay? So anybody can write whatever, right? But it was the web, and about farm attacks on Afrikaners in South Africa, right? Which is why they're fleeing. He said, this is what the meeting is about. So Trump had a whole other thing in mind, right? And so then there was this big screen, like this widescreen TV in there, and they showed two groups, but I'm more familiar with Malema, right? And how what they were saying on the microphone and against the Afrikaners. But yeah, they were showcasing stuff that was backing up Trump's claim that Afrikaners were a target in South Africa, okay? And he asked the South African president, he said, why haven't you arrested Malema for saying the things that he says? This was the clapback. This was clapback moment number one, okay? But the South African president didn't come prepared, okay, to clap back, okay? Because he would have clapped back. Because all he could have said was, the same way you don't arrest the Triple K in your nation. It's called freedom of speech. We got freedom of speech over there too. The same way you pardoned everyone on January 6th. We ain't gonna talk about that, are we? Even though they had the whole guillotine out there for somebody that ran with you called Pence, the vice president. We ain't gonna talk about that. You see, that's the clapback. So as the meeting went on and everything, right? It was more the South African president trying to keep a lid on things. Because I think in the back of his mind, he knew that it could erupt if he said the wrong thing. So I think he came prepared to say what he wanted to say without it erupting. But he had other people speak, and the majority of people who spoke in there on the South African side were Afrikaners or a white South African man. Okay. Okay, so, and here's point number two, okay? When he was like, we have to get this fixed. Why aren't you fixing this? Why aren't you fixing this? Blah, blah, blah. This is what the administration was saying. And my thing is this. Why didn't, there was a lot of ways you could come at this. And I'm assuming the South African president just didn't want to, tell the complete and whole truth. Because all he had to do was say, why haven't I gotten a handle on my issue? Is because the same reason why you hadn't gotten a handle on your issue. In these schools with them pew-pews. Same reason why you hadn't gotten a handle on it. Matter of fact, do you need our help? Because, while you helping us, we can help you get all these pew-pews off the street too. Here's the one thing that really got me. When one of the Afrikaners were talking, they were like, T. wrongs. Well, I know I grew up under apartheid, and but two wrongs don't make a right. And that's the thing I don't like. It's because y'all act like y'all don't have to repair nothing. You do. You do. Because the land that you actually want, most of it was stolen. So give it back. And all of the land has not been given back. That's fact one. And that's all they had to say. That's all the president had to say. But excuse me, most of that land was stolen, Mr. President. So if someone steals something from you, if we're gonna give it back, we got to give it back. Correct? So that's what we're doing. And some people don't want to get up off it. So that's what's going on. That's how you're supposed to talk. That's how you're supposed to talk over here. Ain't no no, because they're not about to laugh with you. So bottom line, how do I think the meeting went? I think the meeting was garbage. Really, nothing was really done. I think the meeting was just for show. Yeah, I think it was garbage and nothing really got handled, because the first thing that should have been said, I believe, from the South African president's mouth is what the majority of South African people are saying, white and black, is that it's a lie. There is no G word going on in South Africa. Okay. And number two, just like in your country, we have the freedom to say what we want to say. And if Malema says what he says or whatever like that, it's just like it's the equivalent of what someone else may say in your following over here in the United States of America that you might, some other people might take offense to. Okay. And as far as all those newspaper clippings and stuff like that, I'd have been like, okay, well, let me show you. I'd have pointed to my homeboy on the couch that wasn't doing nothing. Start looking up all the clips real quick of all the black South Africans, okay, that have gotten taken out, okay, by the hands of, okay, that's what I would have been like. Because what you're not going to do is hand me no internet files. Put them in my freaking hand like I'm supposed to read them. Them suckers would have been landed clean on the floor. But that's why I would have got loads of ratings. If I went to the... You want a showdown, baby. We about to have a showdown for show enough. But, yeah, nothing happened. That happened. It's going to be the same old. But I do believe that based on this meeting, they are going to plan something for South Africa. And it's going to be for the good of those who once ruled in apartheid. If they don't watch it.
Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa's president, was in the White House today with Donald Trump. And you know who was staring daggers through him? According to the Irish Times, but you can see it from this photo. Our old friend and nemesis, Elon Musk. Yes, Elon Musk, who's also from South Africa and is also trying to float the false idea that white South Africans are being discriminated against and must, escape murder to the United States. Elon Musk, who said he was no longer going to donate to political campaigns, that's because his companies are tanking. He's back in the White House, though. This guy can't help himself, so I can't help myself but to remind you, remember, do not buy Tesla. Do not buy or pay attention or help or fund or anything that has to do with Elon Musk. That includes Starlink. That includes SpaceX. Because Tesla is going to die. Tesla is going to literally become just like the pillow company. And as I predicted months ago, and you can watch my old videos, Elon Musk is the new My Pillow guy. Keep the pressure up. This man's fortune is going to be obliterated. just because he wants to, imagine being the richest man in the world, but he just wants to exert pain on everyone and stand by Donald Trump. And it's going to be to his detriment. He is going to be ruined, financially ruined.
Can we stop letting Donald Trump meet with world leaders? Please, how do we make this happen? President Trump confronted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and accused his government of mass killings and land seizures targeting white people. And the reality is South Africa does have one of the world's highest crime rates, and the vast majority of victims are black South Africans, not white South Africans. Despite online chatter, there's no evidence of a white genocide or state-sanctioned land grabs. This moment actually reminds us of the time he met with Zelensky and ambushed him in front of the entire world as well. And then, said out loud, well, I guess America is willing to take a bribe if you're going to send us a jet like our friends in the Middle East did.
Sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay.
He's saying this on a national stage, people. This is embarrassing. It's corruption. It's everything that's wrong in the world. As he's telling a world leader what's happening in his country, and none of it's true, as he decides to take in the white refugees. Those are the good ones, according to Trump land. And everyone else, get out. But yes, more embarrassing moments with Trump and world leaders on a national stage. It's embarrassing, spreading lies, quietly saying he would take bribes on a national stage. Just a bad look for America. Can we please stop Donald from meeting with world leaders? Please.
President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, take a bow. You are black excellence. Have you seen the showdown that happened between President Ramaphosa and President Trump at the White House about this whole white genocide situation happening in South Africa? President Ramaphosa is so strategic and so smart. He knew that as a black South African, he would not get the ear of the type of president Trump is. So he brought with him in his delegation 3 white South Africans, including his Minister of Agriculture, who were also saying to Trump, this whole story of genocide of white farmers in South Africa is false. Didn't work. Did not work. The Afrikaner white refugees that came to America recently are all famous people. Golfers, there's a billionaire in there. So the theory is that Elon Musk has planted the seed in Trump's ear, along with his other right-wing allies, that there is this genocide of white people going on in South Africa. They also provided him with the absolute proof in this video from this minority political party in South Africa. This political party was spewing a lot of hate rhetoric towards white farmers and were advocating for unaliving them. The gag is, though, that this was a very tiny minority grouping that has absolutely no political power and cannot influence South African policies. So Trump showing that video shows that he really does not understand who is calling the shots in South Africa, because that video totally just discredited his claim of genocide, and he did not even realize that. I give so much credit to President Ramaphosa. He was poised. He was diplomatic. He was articulate. He made sense. Perfect representation of strong African leadership. South Africa, you should feel so proud of your president. He came to America and he shone like a diamond in comparison to his American counterpart. Let me know what you think of President Ramaphosa's visit. Did he do a fantastic job representing not only South Africa, but Africans and African leaders on the world stage?
If you don't think Donald Trump is racist, then you did not just witness what happened between him and the South African president in the Oval Office while they were supposed to be discussing coming together on a bill. Donald Trump never gave a fuck about Gaza. He never gave a fuck about you. So for everybody who said, oh my goodness, we are voting for him because Joe Biden allowed a mass genocide to happen, Donald Trump just asked the South African president in the Oval Office why he allowed white refugees to go through a genocide in South Africa. Do you know how fucking crazy that is? The same white refugees he brought here to take all the farmland that the government seized that have no farming skills. Same immigrants from Africa that their entire lineage is known for killing Africans to take their land. Yeah, he just asked the president of South Africa, the black president, why he allowed them to experience a genocide and confronted him on a genocide in South Africa. That is not fucking happening, by the way. It's not happening. So for everyone who's like, oh, well, why would we vote for Biden? And did he ask the leader of Israel why he's encouraging a genocide? Or seizing the Gaza Strip? Or unaliving thousands of people daily? No, but he asked in the name of white refugees. Okay, what fucking timeline are we in? What fucking timeline are we in that our president is ignoring having parts in a war that has actively been an actual genocide, but instead turned to racism and these white refugees who literally are descendants of some of the worst racists in the world, and asked their president why he'd allowed them to experience genocide? That didn't happen. I need to get the fuck out of this place. I need to get out of this place. We're doomed. We're going the wrong way.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's good to have you here, honestly. Thank you so much for clicking when you see this video. If you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome. Do well to like, share, and comment. And if you have not subscribed, please, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to my channel. Guys, what do you have to say about this video? I want to hear what you have to say about all these videos. Please drop your thoughts in the comment section. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know what you think about all this video. I will see you on my next one. Bye.